So they say WrestleMania is supposed to be where legends are made, where careers are defined, and where supposedly WWE gives us the best main events of all time. But let's be honest, sometimes they completely blow it. And today we are going to break down the top three best and the top three worst. And yeah, I already know some of you guys are going to disagree with this list, but we're going to go for it. We're going to see where we land. We've loosely discussed with each other where we're going to go with this, so maybe there'll be some overlap, maybe there won't, but let's kick it right down. So, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the 716 Sports Entertainment Podcast. I am your host, Mike, joined by Mr. T. Reese and Mr. Sean O'Neill. And fellas, we're gonna have a whole 7 days here to have fun and prep for WrestleMania, which is coming to you guys live next Saturday. We're gonna do some live streaming. We're gonna have a ton of show for you guys. We plan on doing one where we're gonna break down all the WrestleManias. It's gonna be a lot of fun. But today's episode, I am really excited about. And fellas, where do you want to start? Best or worst? Uh, T, how you feeling?
Let's go with the worst.
All right.
Let's go with the worst.
All righty. What do you got for me?
All right. So took a lot of deep thought on this one. Okay. Uh, you're having in my low top three worst
Yeah.
main events of all time. Two of them have Roman Reigns, just so you know.
Oh, big dog.
Okay. Uh, my number three though, worst main event I think I've ever heard of or seen was Hogan versus Sid Justice.
Not Sid.
WrestleMania 8.
You're just a hater.
I mean, are you kidding me right now? That was a main event.
It really is so bad.
Hulk Hogan, the number one wrestler in the entire world, most famous wrestler in the entire world, you put him in a match versus Sid Justice.
And he was Sid Justice at that point, right? He wasn't Sid Vicious. He was,
No, he
yeah.
was Sid Justice.
I mean, they were so high on him for at the beginning of his career as well. Like, I understand what they were trying to do there. I mean, it's not to say it was a good match or it should have been done, but you're not wrong.
He had three moves:
Yeah.
chop, chop, body slam,
I was gonna say, where's the body slam?
face.
I mean, didn't Hogan only have three moves, though?
The leg drop of doom.
But Hogan had some sort of charisma.
You're saying Sid didn't have any charisma?
Are you saying he did?
No.
Thank you. I rest my case.
Doesn't Sid doesn't Sid kind of remind you, like you think back on Sid's career a little bit, doesn't the same criticisms that we have of Jadeberg kind of ring true with Sid a little bit as well? Because like you look at that dude, and that dude is like prototypical. I want to build a wrestler. This is what I want a wrestler to look like, especially an 80s wrestler that that he was. Like, I mean, that is build a wrestler 101, right? But I mean, the promo cutting ability sucked, the in-ring work sucked, i.e. Jade Cargill, right? Like, I don't know. I see a lot of similarities. And if you go through the eras, I feel like you can almost always find a couple of folks who are just like, who are that?
Yeah, no, you are hit the nail on the head. It is a probably a better comparison there than it is to call her Jadeberg. You know what I mean? Like, I
We're
think
gonna call her
that
Jade Justice,
we could call her Sid Cargill.
Sid Cargill. I like it. All right, that's a good one, T. That's a good one. I like it. I like it a lot. What do you got, Sean, for one of your three worst?
So obviously these aren't in any sort of order. I just sort of threw together a list of the worst
Same.
ones.
Same. I want to make that clear.
I think that we'll go with, which is crazy for this one considering the names that were involved. WrestleMania 16, otherwise known as WrestleMania 2000. which was the four-way match between Triple H, The Rock, Mick Foley, and The Big Show, where you had a McMahon in every corner fighting for control of the WWE, and The Big Show, I believe, won that one, if I recall correctly. And
think
it was
so.
just, it was a dumpster fire. Like the whole storyline going for that, the necessity to have all four McMahons fighting for power. And for the life of me, I know people love him, but I was talking about it with before the show here. I do not understand the love of Mick Foley. I don't get it. I don't think he was a good wrestler. I think all he had going for him was the fact that he was immune to intelligence when it came to not wrestling dangerously.
I mean, his thing was made when the Undertaker threw his ass off of the Hell in a Cell, and he won the title on that weird. It was just an episode of Raw, right? When like Austin came back and helped him win the title from Rock, and Vince was there and all that stuff. That was a huge moment.
You mean when WCW tried to spoil it and it backfired on him?
Yeah, I mean that was a big time star making moment, if I recall.
Well, he
Yeah.
also was, excuse me, extremely famous on the extreme indie scene too.
Yeah,
So he already had a name for himself. Got to WCW, became the Cactus Jack that we all know and love, and thereafter became a legend when he got to WWE. I mean, you have to respect the fact of a guy who's willing to put his body on the line like he did for those matches. They're some of the most memorable things you've ever can see in a match, and that will not be denied ever. No one in the history of wrestling has ever done what he's done to his body in a match. There's been some exceptions, ECW falling on a million tables and stuff like that, but Mick Foley literally let the Undertaker throw him off the top of a cage onto a table.
it was one of the
One
most insane
table.
things I've ever seen in my life. My like,
I
yeah,
mean,
dude, my like 12-year-old brain could not wrap his head around that. That was unbelievable.
So I cannot agree with Sean on that one. Shouldn't even
I'm
be.
not saying Foley was the reason for the match being terrible. I was just saying I personally have never understood the appeal of Mick Foley.
You stand by your pick, sir.
I do stand by my pick.
So
I like
yeah,
it.
so I think I've got one that all three of us can agree on, and I'm going to take a page out of T's book. Not only did this WrestleMania have the worst main event, in my opinion, one of the worst of all time, I think this WrestleMania in general is remembered as one of the worst WrestleManias of all time. And that is WrestleMania 9. Bret Hart loses to Yokozuna, and then Hulk Hogan gets told to go out to the ring with a busted up eye from his previous match earlier in the night and wins the title in like 2 minutes after getting called, quote, a yellow belly by Mr. Fuji, and then holds up the title just to completely destroy Bret Hart, and got to be one of the most disrespectful booking decisions I've ever seen in my life. You yellow belly.
I I don't know what you're talking about. Bret Hart wasn't in that main event. That main event was just Yokozuna versus Hogan.
Yeah, I mean that was. I mean, definitely was pretty bad. But
So
see, I
bad.
mean, but for me, the only reason why I didn't put it in my bottom three, just for me, was I don't think there was any type of emotional attachment to it. You know what I mean? It just happened. And at the time that it happened, I mean, did anybody care about what Bret Hart happened to Bret Hart after that? Really? It
I
took
mean,
years for people to remember what happened to him in that match.
he was only a couple years removed to go to WCW at that
Right.
point. So
So I mean, he was already on the outs anyway.
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I definitely I can see where you're saying. I see where you're at with that though. I definitely see that.
So bad. So bad. All right, T, I'll kick it back over to you for your next one.
All right. We're looking at WrestleMania 34.
Oh,
And this match was so hyped up as if we were going to watch two Titans in the ring go at it. And all we got was just a domination of one man on another for the entire match. Just about. And that's Reigns versus Lesnar. What a terrible scripted match. We waited all night to watch that. That's what we were watching.
Was that the year that Lesnar just literally beat the dirt off of Reigns the entire match?
The entire match.
Yeah, that one. You know what I remember about that one a lot was WWE was so tone deaf during that match. That match sucked. It was just suplex, suplex, suplex.
Yep.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but was that like the year WWE made the rule about the beach balls being in the audience because people were going crazy with throwing beach balls around? And then all of a sudden you were like, remember you and I, Sean, talked about this like years and years and years ago, where it was like, did WWE do something like and start like confiscating beach balls from
Yep.
people? And I think it was because of this. But yeah, Key, to your point, talk about them completely ignoring their audience. Just
Awful.
woof.
Awful. I mean, this is when the main events were just completely on a decline. And then what led that up to the Cody and Reigns saga, which I guess we got a really good payoff on that one, just due to the fact that it took 2 years for us to get our payoff.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure somebody has that on their list, so we'll discuss it at that time.
It took more than 2 years.
Yeah, it took quite a few. Sean, what do you got for your next one?
My next one was WrestleMania 11. Not only was it Bam Bam Bigelow of all people in the main event, but it was Bam Bam Bigelow versus Lawrence Taylor. And once again proving that WWE's incessant need to have celebrities in their matches at WrestleMania isn't just a mistake of this year, it's a mistake of yesteryear as well. This match was terrible. Both men looked terrible in the ring. And the fact that this was a main event and not like the second match of the card is an embarrassment.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like this is what ruined Bam Bam Bigelow's career, like completely. I used to really like him a lot when I was a kid. I thought he was awesome. And like I remember after this match, I was like, I'm done with this dude. I don't care about him like fighting an athlete. Like I don't care at all. Like it was so stupid and so pointless.
Yep.
You know.
I, I, dude, I can't say nothing else. I mean, this is what led up to today's WrestleMania. Am I correct? I mean, it started with what, Mr. T, right?
Nope, we're gonna get to that.
Yeah.
You leave that one off there.
Well, I'm saying, I mean,
So
WWE, I mean, they seen them, during that time, don't forget now, there wasn't social media. So the only time
yeah.
you got to see any of these people was at WrestleMania or in their respective jobs are. So it sold itself. So that's why they got away with it for so long. But now
Yeah.
you could, if you wanted to, like you could see whoever you want at any time you want on your phone.
Yeah. So for my next one, I was originally going to pick a different one, but based on what T said at the beginning of the show, I have a feeling that the one I was going to say in this spot might have been one that T was going to use. So I'll save that and I might come back to it if T doesn't pick this one. But my next one is actually last year's WrestleMania's main event between Cody Rhodes and John Cena. That was a shitstorm. And that started at Elimination Chamber when John Cena turned heel, which agree or disagree with that. You wanted to do that, TKO, fine. You wanted to have The Rock be involved in that and have that story, fine. You wanted multi-platinum Fiend artist Travis Scott to be involved in that and have the whole show say the word Fiend
Fiend.
500,000 times, fine. You wanted to do all of those things, fine. Then you get to the match, and it was at the beginning of Cena's final run, where Cena's matches weren't very good to begin with. And then B, the payoff to the match was no Rock, and it was just Travis Scott making an entrance to the ring, hitting Cody in the face with the title, busting his nose open, Cena kicking him in the dick, and that's how Cena won his 17th record-breaking world title. And that's how you want John Cena to be remembered, like for winning that title. I mean, what he did after it was fine, but that particular match, no, I can't. It sucked so bad.
Yeah, you can probably do a 3-hour podcast on that entire
Mhm.
match if you wanted to. It was truly remarkable that that's what they decided on. You've built up one of the, I mean, dare I say, in probably all of the history of the WWE, might have been the most emotionally attached storyline that WWE has ever produced.
Yeah, I
The
can agree with
writing for
that.
that was incredible. And the problem that we're having right now is that they have not matched that level since then.
Nope.
Which was, honestly, it's what was going to happen. I mean, you're going to have a letdown after that. And now
Yeah,
WWE is a little lost on what they want to do. But you're right. That was probably the most disappointing WrestleMania main event I've ever seen.
yeah.
I mean, we got our match, but not the way we expected.
Not the way we expected, not the way we wanted. And honestly, it probably would have been saved if Dwayne got his lazy ass there and made an appearance.
Yep.
You know, I mean, like,
That's
yeah. Go ahead, Sean.
that's the thing is with that match specifically, the lack of commitment to the storytelling for it and is what completely derailed it. I mean, you started this whole big story at Elimination Chamber of Cena is here teaming with The Rock because Cody refused to sell his soul and then it just went out the window. We just and I mean we're a year later now and nothing has come of it. Like it just it is a tremendously wasted event, a tremendous waste of a heel turn by John Cena, and the match itself was so incredibly lackluster. Like it was the previous day had a fantastic main event, and most of the matches before the Cena match were pretty entertaining too.
Yeah,
But the it was just boring to watch on top of being just bad storytelling. And of course, Travis Scott, Fiend.
yeah. Being Yeah, so I don't know. We talked about that one at length, and actually, that was like right around when we started this podcast. So, if you want to check out some retro videos from the 716 Sports Entertainment Podcast, go take a look at that particular one because I think to this day it might still be the only one where we dropped f bombs on this channel. Because I dropped f bombs, and I'm pretty sure Sean might have dropped a couple too. And he had to like keep me in check from getting us completely censored and thrown off this platform. So anyway, I digress. Let me pass it back over to you, Reese.
Okay, so again, I told you guys this wasn't in any type of order. But this might have been the most boring main event in WrestleMania history. And some of our favorite wrestlers of all time were involved in this match. One's already a legend, one will be a legend. And that's WrestleMania 32, Reigns versus Triple H. I fell asleep literally in the middle of that match. That's how boring that match was. I have no idea why Triple H inserted himself into this, but it was the only main event I've ever fell asleep on. The only one I've ever fought, as bad as some of the other ones we've mentioned, as bad as some of those matches were, you still were watching. That Triple H versus Roman Reigns. I mean, I didn't even remember half the match. I had to watch it back the next day to remember the match. That's how boring that match was.
That was the year where they were doing everything, the Authority was doing everything in their power to keep Reigns from getting the title back, right? Where they had Triple H win the belt at Royal Rumble.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think the thing for me that stands out the most for that from that isn't even the main event of that WrestleMania. It's the fact that the month before, this was back when they were still pay-per-views and not PLEs, they had, it wasn't Elimination Chamber. I don't remember which one it was. Maybe Fast, or was it Roadblock? I think it might have been Roadblock. Where it was Dean Ambrose versus Triple H for the title. And that Ambrose versus Triple H match was absolute fire. Like, it was 1,000 times better than your main event of WrestleMania. And it just goes to show you that Triple H and Roman had zero chemistry together outside of terrible promos and an incredibly slow match full of rest holds. It was just, you're right. It was another match that was just incredibly boring.
I mean, no excitement during that match.
Yeah.
Triple
No,
H was past his prime, had no business being in that match with a young guy like Roman Reigns who still was trying to find his way. It was just not a good matchup. Just was not a good matchup.
it it also didn't help that it was at that point where they were trying to jam Roman down everyone's throat.
Exactly. And see, that was the problem. And you didn't even want to see him in the match to begin with. And then you put on the most boring match on top of it.
And it was long too. It was like 50 minutes long. And you're right. It was like rest holds and
Yeah.
like people just laying around the ring outside and like, just this and that. And it was so slow. And they were
Listen,
both like just big. Like Roman didn't have the in-ring that the in-ring charisma that he has now as the tribal chief. Like that was when he was suffering succotash, Roman Reigns, and it was just like it was bad. It was he had no in-ring charisma at all. Thank God that Paul Heyman like saved him,
Yeah.
because like yeah.
You mean
I
eating?
still say to this day, like, Roman Reigns, ever since the introduction of Paul Heyman to Roman Reigns has become one of my favorite things to watch on
Yep.
WWE. If you would have told me that before the Paul Heyman thing, I would have been like, get the hell out of here.
Yeah, whoever would have expected the bloodline to turn out what it ended up being?
Yeah.
From eating dog food for a weird old man to being the OTC.
Yeah.
well, let's also, I want to put this on record. Is the internet, anything you say stays on the internet, right? If I were to name the most influential person in wrestling of all time, it's Paul Heyman. There's been nobody as consistent as him, as brilliant as him, and has absolutely made superstars out of people who you thought could never be those.
Yeah.
This is why I'm hoping that if, obviously if they get rid of Triple H, give it to Heyman.
Yeah.
He can still be involved in the show. He's not, and he's not that type of guy where he's going to plug himself in and just completely take over as Paul Heyman. He'll be able to, he'll know how to push other wrestlers, how to build storylines, how to get some form of continuity going on in their writing room. Because what they're doing right now is just straight doo-doo.
Yeah. No, it's not. It is not working.
Who knows? Maybe a Hollywood writer might make a difference. At least you might get some sort of cohesion. I mean, it's probably easier to write for a wrestling show week to week than it is to, have to write a script for a bunch of people to, act out and perform. WWE is a weekly show. He doesn't have to do anything but write. Everything else takes care of itself.
Yeah.
So maybe
Yeah.
I'm open to anything right now because WWE is listen, AEW, listen, AEW. Khan, stop doing the coca. Okay? This is
Like
your
Coca?
time.
Yeah.
WWE's is at its weakest moment it has been in years. You have an opportunity to strike. Could be why Jericho went back.
Yeah.
They have an opportunity here. WWE is getting a little nervous, by the way, because you heard about them pulling matches for those the
TNA
TNA versus
people.
AEW
Yep.
matches. WWE is getting a little nervous.
Oh no, TNA was mad that AEW had their show on their night.
Well, also, I believe that WWE also made a phone call.
I don't know, maybe, but
That's what some of the reports said. WWE was not didn't want their talent to cross over AEW talent because obviously I get it. You get eyes on their wrestlers over yours, and no, we're not doing that. I get it.
All right, Sean, what's your last in the worst column?
my beast of the least would be WrestleMania number 1. Hogan and Mr. T against Orndorff and Roddy Piper. It just
All
was
right.
not a good match. I'm sorry. Like, obviously, you wanted the pomp and circumstance and the attention brought by having a celebrity, but celebrities in matches, let alone main events, is proven to never work. There's very few celebrities turned wrestlers, even for a short period of time, that can transition successfully to put on a good match. What?
No, that it just Reese has got his thumbs down. It's kind of funny.
You guys crapped on me originally for saying this was one of the best last year, and I've thought about it and I've changed my mind. But there's very few like I said, this was also wasn't this also the year that no, when did Roddy do the blackface? Was that for this in the lead up to this, or was that a different year?
I don't remember, truthfully.
Reese, you can take your thumbs down and shove it. You if we
Well,
go back and watch our videos from last year, I had this on one of my top lists, and you guys bitched me out.
you had it on your top list because of it, just the fact that it was WrestleMania 1. It wasn't so much about the match, it was just because it was WrestleMania
I
1.
just
Like the big,
I just think
the
that
pomp and
this
circumstance of WrestleMania.
I think this is a case of WWE starting the celebrity stuff and obviously wanting it to use it to bring eyes to the product, and it impacts the match in a negative way.
Okay, so Sean, I think you're kind of taking what we were telling you before a little bit out of context. Okay, so I'm gonna explain.
Okay, thanks, Dad.
Thanks,
You're welcome,
Dan.
son. You're welcome. Now, it wasn't like Mike said. It wasn't so much that because it was WrestleMania 1. You can't you can't go from one end and go all the way back to the other end, Sean.
Yeah,
You got
you
to
can.
stand on
Happens all
your
the time.
soapbox. Okay. It was not the fact that the match was bad. Who can go back to their first show and ever judge it? First show, man.
Doesn't mean it's not bad.
So it's a legendary show. This is what started it all for all of wrestling. So I get it. So I couldn't put it in my worst 3 just because of what it represented.
But it's not about what it represents. It's about the match itself.
No, I get it. But I can't say the match had something there though that we all watched. I don't think anybody expected to see a great match, right? I don't think that expectation was there. That's the only reason I'm saying that. But hang on, I gotta get my charger and plug my phone in. I'll be right back.
Yeah. All right, I'm gonna go with my last one here, and I'm kind of glad that Reese didn't pick this one because I had a toss up between these two, and I wasn't really sure which one I was gonna go with. But I'm gonna go with the one that I think it just gave me more of the feels and like really kind of um just depressed me, I think was probably the best way to look at that. And that is, of course, the main event of WrestleMania 33 between Roman Reigns and The Undertaker. And this match was, I think the best way for me to describe this was just depressing. It was depressing to watch The Undertaker, who was way past his prime and very clearly injured during this match, just get his ass kicked by Roman Reigns and look like a shell of himself throughout the entire match. And you saw his wife in the front row crying, and it was the first time that The Undertaker ever broke character after the match was over. And I was just like, I hate everything about this. Like, I hate everything about this. And like, he probably should have been done, prior to this. Like, I know he came back and beat Bray Wyatt, but I think after the thing with Brock Lesnar,
Yep.
he should have been done. Like that should have been it. He should have been done. And I don't know. The Undertaker was always one of my favorite characters. He wasn't the best wrestler, but he was always one of my favorite characters of all time. And to see him go out like that, especially to get his ass kicked by suffering succotash Roman Reigns, it was just the absolute worst thing to see. And he was always the one guy you never thought was going to break character, and he broke character after this match was over. And I didn't like anything about it. It's really
So
depressing.
forgive me for the alliteration here, but the streak, the mystique of the streak was part of the allure of everything going on with the Undertaker and his character. And I believe that was WrestleMania 30 where Brock broke it, right?
Yep.
I'm still in the camp that I don't think that match was supposed to end the way it did. I think that Taker was concussed and that match ended with in an unplanned finish. And once the streak was broken, it pretty much took away any any of the shine to Taker's further Mania matches, especially when you have the way I looked at it is whoever broke the streak, it should have been used to make a humongous star. And I was always of the belief that it should have been Bray Wyatt because that would have been the perfect person to do it. So then instead, after Brock breaks it, you have him beat Bray, you have him beat somebody else, and then he comes back and he gets utterly dominated by Roman Reigns. Like, especially in that period of time where everybody was so sick of Roman. Nobody wanted anything to do with him, even less than when he faced Brock. Like, everyone was just tired of it. And to see, I know that they came back and Taker had his match with AJ Styles later on and sort of they sort of fixed things a little bit. But at the point, it looked like that was going to be the official end of the Undertaker at WrestleMania, and you were set, and you were right. It was a very sad moment.
Yeah. Really sad way to end a WrestleMania. So let's turn things
No,
around here a little
no
bit and
response
let's
from T there though.
Oh yeah, I was going to respond real
oh yeah, go
quick.
ahead, T. I'm sorry.
Um, I'm with you 100% on that. The only problem that you had then is it should have been Bray. I'm with you 100%. I thought for sure that's who the nod was going to go to, just because I thought he would just replace Undertaker with that type of character.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And then he kind of does like the Undertaker, come and goes, disappears, shows up every so often, whatnot. Turn him into the new Undertaker. But old man Vince again got in the way. Didn't like the fact that, he couldn't create it, that Bray wanted more creative control over his own characters. And Vince doesn't like that. He likes to be in control of everything. So it's a shame that Bray's career didn't reach what I thought the potential he had to reach. I mean, he right now, we should still be talking about him right now as, one of the top wrestlers in the WWE. But Unfortunately, he didn't get there. But you're right. It was Roman Reigns again. He's destroyed a lot of main events, guys.
And he's been in like 12 of them at this point.
and
Yeah.
it's Vince's fault why he's destroyed so many wasted main events over the years. But yeah, I'm with you. I mean, I cannot argue that one. I'm with you 100%.
So let's switch gears here and start talking about some good ones now. So Reese, I'm going to kick it over to you this time and give us one of your top three good ones.
Okay. This is probably one of the most legendary matches of all time. Just because they're two of the most beloved wrestlers of all time. Granted, one of them today, not so much. And that's Rock and Stone Cold.
Yep.
Rock and Stone Cold was, at that time, was what the Cody Roman Reigns storyline was.
Which year?
Name one.
17.
I mean, they were both the same. They were both no DQ matches.
17. I mean, both matches were great, but the 17 one was just, we were so emotionally attached to Stone Cold at that time. And then just to see the crowd kind of split between the two. I mean, it was like WWE's never had that before. We have two guys in the ring that the fan bases are split on. That was the first time. Stone Cold was the first, basically like the anti-hero, right? And then The Rock played along with that as well. Then just to see both those two in the ring, and they put on a show. They put on a hell of a match. You know, a lot of people don't. That's one thing people don't give Stone Cold a credit for too, is he was a hell of a wrestler. And The Rock, because he's so good at selling for people, it brings that much more dramatic. You know, it's like, you know, watching it's like watching him acting in a movie. You know, when he gets Stone Cold stunned, he goes flying 20 feet up in the air when he gets stunned and everything. So he was great at selling moves to people. I mean, if there was anything he was really great at other than being on the mic, was he was great selling, and that which really made his matches good because he was able to sell to the other guy so well. So that's in my top three. I mean, that was probably one of the most influential matches in WWE history.
Was Mania 17, would that have been the year of Hollywood Rock?
No, that was the year after, I think.
Year
No, the
after?
year after is when he had the Icon versus Icon match with Hogan.
Yeah, that was
At
the year
SummerSlam?
Mm-hmm.
No, at WrestleMania.
No,
I
Mania.
thought that was at SummerSlam.
That was at Mania 18.
Okay.
Because the main event of Mania 18 was, I think, Chris Jericho versus Triple H. I think.
Yeah, for the first was it the first Universal or something like that?
Yeah.
Something like that, yeah.
No, The Rock was at that point where he played such a good villain. It was, I don't know, it's hard to even describe how good of a villain he was. He had the charisma, he had the ego, and the fact that, like you said, Stone Cold had that like everyman kind of thing going on, and he played that anti-hero who fought back so well. It was a fantastic match, and you're right. And watching The Rock every time, I think the only person who sold better than The Rock was Shawn Michaels.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, you're absolutely right. I mean, this was peak WWE Attitude Era storytelling. The crowd was perfect. The storytelling was perfect. And I mean, you guys didn't even touch on the heel turn at the end of the match, which not a person alive saw coming. Not one person alive saw coming. And I mean, it was really truly the end of an era. Like it was one of the greatest moments in WrestleMania history.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think that Icon versus Icon thing was really good too, but that wasn't the main event. But I mean, this was one of the greatest moments in WrestleMania history.
Yep.
So Sean, kick it over to you.
So for mine, I'm gonna break T's streak of and your streak of being in the bad matches, and I'm gonna go with WrestleMania 31, which it wasn't really Roman that did it though. The heist of the century, Roman versus Brock, with Seth Rollins cashing in the Money at the Bank briefcase for the first time ever, where a Money at the Bank briefcase was cashed in at WrestleMania. Where, if correct me if I'm wrong, but I believed it was the opening match. Seth Rollins lost to Randy Orton,
Yep.
and then came out and stomped both Roman and Brock and left with that title. Nobody saw that coming. It was amazing. I lost my shit at it in my younger days. It was fantastic. I don't even think I have to say much because honestly, it wasn't even the full match. It was literally like the last 2 minutes of the match that made it.
That was you're right about Rollins and Orton too, and that was when Orton hit perhaps one of the greatest RKO's
Yep.
of all time. All time.
Yep. Rollins went for the stomp and
Went
Orton
up
like
in the
pushed him
air,
up.
took an RKO. Unbelievable.
Yep.
Yeah, that was probably the actual birth of the RKO. Like it's like a piece of pop culture now, right?
Yep.
It's like it's like everyone knows RKO means. Even if you're not a wrestling fan, you know what RKO means.
Yep.
Like there's nobody else that's moving wrestling right now that could say that.
I love it.
I mean,
I
people are
love it.
using it in their comedy bits. I mean, let's be honest here. It's you're right, man. That was an incredible match. I mean, that RKO was probably one of the most memorable moments in all of WrestleMania. I mean, it was so like fluid and just like I'll be honest with you. That's the one thing about Randy he doesn't get a lot of credit for, man. As big as he is, dude, he can move around that ring. When he wants to get around that ring, he can get around the ring. And just RKO, man. I can't say nothing else. I agree. I'm with
So
you.
good. So good. So it's funny that we keep a lot of our conversation here has been about WrestleManias in that block of the 30s. I'm gonna go for my first one here with the one actually at number 30. And that is, of course, between Daniel Bryan, Randy Orton again, and Batista. So let's remember this one because this one wasn't even supposed to happen. The fans forced WWE to change direction, and this gave us perhaps one of the most emotional endings in WrestleMania history. I mean, Daniel Bryan has to fight his way through HHH and Stephanie McMahon earlier in the show to get himself inserted into the main event, and then he taps out Bautista to win that match. Absolutely spectacular. The crowd went ballistic. I mean, the commentary was perfect. I mean, say what you want about Michael Cole being a goon. That was like one of his finest moments on the microphone ever. The Bourbon Street Miracle or whatever he said there, just out of this world. Absolutely excellent.
Yeah, no, the whole storyline of the Yes movement and the wave of fan pandemonium that propelled Daniel Bryan back to the top of the card when it was obvious that Vince McMahon wanted nothing to do with him because he wasn't your prototypical Vince McMahon guy of your meaty men slapping meat in the ring. And it just the emotion of the payoff to that storyline and seeing Daniel Bryan make his way through that match against Triple H into that main event where both Randy and Batista like double teamed him for most of the match. And to have him tap out a returning Blue Tista, if because I believe he was wearing all that goofy blue gear, was absolute cinema. And the confetti and everything coming down with Daniel Bryan holding those two title belts up. incredible.
Yeah. I think everybody might have had a little bit of a tear in their eye that night, right? Here's this kid who was thrown aside, comes back, and that's the first time that fans realized they had a voice.
Yep.
And ever since then, WWE's been trying to suppress it. They kind of mute the TV now, turn down the volume of the stadium when they say things they don't like. But I mean, being that they're acknowledging it means that it's working. So my understanding is that even for the Mania match, I guess it's getting reworked. The McAfee thing.
Yeah, that's what I heard too. We're gonna hear something tonight, allegedly.
Well, might be. Let's see what the fans' voices pushed out this time. But
Yeah.
this is the first time. This is the first time the fan voices were heard by the wrestling world, and they answered. And I mean, you could ask for more. I mean, none of us expected him to win. That was the thing. I mean, he's in the ring with Batista and Randy Orton. There's no way in hell he's winning this match.
Yeah, after going through what he went through. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he's kind of getting. They made him pay the price to win it. That's what I think happened in that match. I'm pretty sure Daniel Bryan won't say that, but I think Orton and Batista were like, you know what? If he's going to win this match, he's going to have to pay for it. And they abused that man for the entire match. Mm-hmm. Yeah. He got his receipts. Yeah, you want the belt? We're going to get a little something out of this. And I think that's what happened.
You're absolutely right.
I mean, during that day, don't forget now, that's during when Randy Orton was a complete asshole.
Yep.
Remember he was getting in trouble for all kinds of stuff backstage.
Yeah.
So you can imagine where his thought process was, I got to give it to this guy. And I'm pretty sure, him and Batista are boys. They were like, yeah, let's give him some receipts. Let's let him pay a little price to be that one of us were supposed to win this belt.
Yep.
Yeah, because that was the year. Didn't Batista win the Rumble that year?
He did.
He returned.
Yeah.
And I heard that there were stories that he was pissed about Daniel Bryan too, because he was like, no, I'm returning. This is my time, and.
Yep.
That was the year where everybody was expecting Daniel Bryan to come out at number 30, and then it was Rey Mysterio instead, and everybody booed.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, Reese, let me kick it over to you for your next one.
This is one of the more emotional matches of WWE WrestleMania main event of all time. I'm going with WrestleMania 12. Shawn Michaels versus Bret Hart. Perhaps, if we were going to say in actual matches, in terms of two skilled men in the ring, at the peak of their craft, it was that match. Both of them were in their prime and put on one of the greatest matches, still to this day would hold up, of all time. One of the most memorable photos in WWE history is Shawn Michaels on his knees, holding his arms up, winning the belt.
Yeah. That was the 60-minute Iron Man match, right?
They went for the whole show.
Yeah.
I mean, it was absolutely incredible. And to be able to do that type of match and still make it entertaining for that time period, as much as they were throwing their bodies all around that ring, was something to behold. Still to this day, it's very hard for anyone to meet that level of a match just because it was the perfect storm. It's not very often you can get two of the best wrestlers at their peak in the ring at the same time. It's very rare that happens. And that's why that match was so good and why we remember it so much.
That's
I mean,
literally what it
that's
is.
yeah.
You literally had two of the greatest technical wrestlers of all time in the ring. And I mean, there's a reason why Shawn Michaels is Mr. WrestleMania.
I was just gonna say that. Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, if that's where that phrase started, like I mean I don't know for certain, but like that wouldn't surprise me if that's where that phrase came from, was from that match.
Yep.
So yeah, that's a good one, Race. That's a really good one. Let me kick it over to you, Sean, for your next one.
My next one is WrestleMania 6, Hulk Hogan versus the Ultimate Warrior. The the match itself was unlike the previous one mentioned by Mr. Reese, not at all a technical masterpiece. I mean, Ultimate Warrior was always gassed by the time he got to the ring, but it was, I think, more about a changing of the guard at the time and the clash of two titans with the title versus title match between Hogan and Warrior. And when Warrior hit that press slam to defeat Hogan, I mean, absolutely incredible. Nobody, I don't think you could beat that for the time. It was just one of the greatest things to see as a young wrestling fan.
Look out, it's the big splash.
Yep. Plus the incredibly ridiculous promos you always got out of the Ultimate Warrior. You could never beat those.
Hulk Hogan.
Hogan. Talking about crashing planes and all sorts of insanity.
Right.
And was that the year that it was at in Atlantic City?
Maybe?
And he
No, I
said that
don't.
he was gonna put Trump and all the Hulkamaniacs on his back
Oh,
and swim to safety.
yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah,
I think you're
yeah.
right.
Put them all on my massive back and swim to safety.
Yeah, he told Donald Trump to get rid of all of his material possessions.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, good old Hogan and his
Good old Terry Bollea.
say your vitamins and eat your prayers.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, because I mean, at that time period, I mean, they were the most popular two wrestlers in the world at that time.
Yep.
So, I mean, it was destined to become a legendary match just because of who was in the ring. I mean, granted, you know, Ultra Warrior was not a very good wrestler, but it was just
No.
his physique and his complete insanity running to the ring and doing what he does and his look and everything and not understanding a word that he's saying was some of the best TV of all time. I mean, you have to admit it was some of the best TV because you couldn't wait for Undertaker to talk, or not Undertaker, Ultimate Warrior to talk. You couldn't just wait to see what kind of weird stuff he was going to
Yep.
say. Him walking backwards away from the camera and talking. You could barely hear him as he's moving away. He doesn't even realize he's not even on the microphone anymore. Yeah, he was on another level. But yeah, that was fun, man. I mean, to see Hogan get bench pressed in the air, overhead pressed. I mean,
Yep.
we've never seen anybody do that to Hulk Hogan.
No. And it was, I wouldn't say domination by the Ultimate Warrior, but the Ultimate Warrior put a beating on Hogan, and that was probably one of the first times you saw something like that.
Mm,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
So
I would say so. It wasn't even a long match though, either.
Oh, they never were.
no, it
It's
was
more Warriors matches were always short.
No.
yeah, yeah. So for my next one, mine all kind of have a theme. And I think to Reese's point with my last one with WrestleMania 30, it was a bit emotional. This one for me was also very emotional as well, because this is also kind of like when I came back to wrestling a little bit, because I'd kind of taken a break for a little while, like when I was in my 20s. But WrestleMania 26, which had three main events, but the actual main event of Shawn Michaels versus The Undertaker, the streak versus the career of Shawn Michaels, which was a year-long narrative that Shawn Michaels announced at the Hall of Fame, that where
Yep.
he said, "You did, I can beat you. I can beat you at WrestleMania." And Shawn Michaels did everything in his power throughout the whole year, cost Undertaker the title, beat his ass out of Elimination Chamber, just everything that he could do to finally get that match. And then when that match happened, I mean, that cinema meme that you see on the internet, I mean, it was perfect. Undertaker hit him with the tombstone pile driver, like right outside on the concrete, and Michaels just kicked out. And then finally at the very end, when he goes like this to Undertaker, like do it, finish me. Loved it. Loved it.
That was my honorable mention. I was going to throw that in there because I couldn't figure out how to squeeze that one in because I didn't have top four. But yeah, I'm with you 100%. That was perhaps, and let's call a buck a buck. Two dudes well past their prime.
Oh, no doubt.
That match, and they were able to put on that type of show. And that was another, time period of excellent writing by the WWE in that time. I mean, you were just waiting for that match to happen. You knew it was going to happen when Shawn Michaels did that. And the way they built up to it and the way they ended it with that match was incredible.
You want to talk about bringing your A game. Undertaker and Shawn Michaels went above and beyond for that match. It is, for me, it's up there and will probably be one of the matches that I'll remember for all time as far as WrestleMania goes. I mean, Shawn Michaels has always been my favorite wrestler of all time, and it's one of his finest matches.
Absolutely. All right, Reese, let me kick it over to you for your last one.
All right, gentlemen. I mean, it's no surprise that, in my top three, what you got to have the Cody Rhodes, Roman Reigns, WrestleMania 40 night 2.
Oh.
I don't think you cannot put that anyway. I don't know how you argue not to put that in the top three of all time. There's probably the only match you can probably not pry away from my list as top three of all time. You can probably convince me the other ones I named. You can probably do that. But we were emotionally invested to this storyline like no other storyline before. I mean, it could be although that they drug this storyline out for two plus years.
Yeah.
And that disappointment, that first one, it was like, what are we doing right now? It literally felt like the sky was falling when that match ended. We were like, what just happened? Why didn't they give it to him? And so we took the ride again for another year. But the way they were able to pay it off for us, granted, whatever, circus it was at the end of that match, you were just like more. I mean, you felt like you were part of the match, right? Like you felt like you had some stake in this match. And you were just trying to cheer on a guy in Cody Rhodes or Homelander. Should I call him Homelander?
Homelander.
Codelander.
I don't know.
Codelander.
Is that what he goes by now, Homelander? Anyways. But we wanted this kid to win just because of his story. Just because he's probably one of the only legendary wrestling families whose families never held onto a WWE title. Ain't that crazy? Think about that.
Hmm.
As Shawn dislikes Mick Foley, he even had the belt multiple times.
Yeah.
And they could not find a way to put a belt on one of the Rhodes. So Cody did what he had to do and forced him.
Yeah. I mean,
he forced him. He became somebody who you couldn't deny anymore. Went around the world and forced him. Now he's almost as paid as much as Roman Reigns now. He has his own trailer now. He's in movies now. But to see the payoff in that match was just like you felt like a weight was lifted off your shoulders. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I felt like I was Cody Rhodes and a weight just came off my shoulders.
I
They were
mean,
so good at telling that story.
Yep.
you're absolutely right. I've said this on this channel. It was the only time ever in my adult life watching professional wrestling that I got emotional. Like I literally felt like I was going to cry. It was one of the greatest things I have ever seen. And actually, that was going to be my third one. So I'm going to have to go to one of my backup ones here. But that was just, it was perfect. It was
You
like,
don't
you know,
have to.
you
You
see
don't
those
have to.
memes. Yeah.
You don't have
You
to,
see,
Mike.
no, I have another one that I also thought was very, very good, which I will just list. But I mean, you know, the Homelander, it was perfect. Perfect. Everything down to the last minute detail. I mean, excellent. Excellent.
I don't I don't know if we'll ever see storytelling as long-term storytelling as perfect as that was. The whole previous year of Cody losing and sitting there on the ramp and then coming out of Mania, going into the feud with Brock for a few months, where they actually took him away from the title picture for a few months, only for him to fight his way back in and finish the story. It makes me wish that the storytelling we were seeing nowadays was on par with it, because it was impeccable how good it was. And that's I think what I'll always remember about it is how good of a job they just did getting Cody to that place where you were so invested in him finishing the story that the shenanigans at the end of that match, for as wacky as they were with everybody coming out, were still tolerable because we got to see him finally pin Reigns and get the win.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, Sean, let me go next on this one and I'll let you finish it up just because mine was obviously going to be similar to what Reese's, but I want to just give my special mention because well, it wasn't I don't want to leave everybody with because it was kind of the same thing, but mine was actually the night my other one was gonna be the night one main event of WrestleMania 39 between Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens
Oh,
versus the Usos.
so yeah.
That
Yep.
match, I mean, the storytelling leading into that match, the will they, won't they with Sammy and Kevin Owens, finally getting back together, finally coming together to just really smash the bloodline, right? And like to take everything away from the blood, because that was the whole story of the whole years. Everybody's coming together to take out the bloodline. And it made it even just as more heartbreaking when Cody lost the next night to Roman. But I really, I just wanted to kind of give that one as my special mention because I remember that very fondly and like the storytelling with, that's why I still liked Sami Zayn and, how he finally pinned Jey Uso there to take those tag team titles away that they held for like 700 days or some nonsense. Like that was awesome. Absolutely awesome.
That whole bloodline story, just once it finally reached the first part of its conclusion, there was another example of just the great storytelling that was going on. And that was back before I reached my negative feelings on Sami Zayn, and seeing him with his best friend KO out there dethroning the Usos, who at the time were doing the best work of their career too, was an amazing match. And like you said, it made the next night even more shocking when Cody lost. I think that it, in addition to being a great match, it just emphasized the overall story even more as well.
Yeah. I mean, this is what makes it a shame right now how they've completely like have fumbled the bloodline stories. It's not all over the place now. And again, this is one of those things where I've said before that I think they write week to week. And I think that's what's hurting them right now, because now you have two separate bloodlines, and they don't even interact with each other
Yeah.
at
Weird.
all.
It's weird.
Right? So, I mean, we all know who they are. We all know who's related. What are we doing?
Yeah. It is so strange that like the MFTs do not interact with the Usos or Roman Reigns
Right.
at all.
Like, they
At
don't even
all.
exist. I mean, we just threw away the whole bloodline, de facto bloodline, and we just left the story there. Now they're just two different existences right now in WWE. I have no idea what they're doing with that. But anyways, it's probably, to be honest with you, it was probably easier to keep that going and have like this inner feud going on, and have it branch out in other matches and connect other matches behind the scenes. I mean, there's a lot they could have done with that. But I mean, you're right, man. That put the bow on it. We all thought for sure that next night the story was going to get finished.
Yep.
And then
They
just
pulled the rugs right under us.
yeah, hold the rug right out from
Hit us
under
with
us.
the old psych.
Yeah. It was I was like I was in shock that Cody didn't win. Like I was in shock. It was
We all looked
like
at each other in shock. We all were like,
yeah. How could that not have happened? How could he not have won? It's unbelievable. So, and the match was excellent too. But anyway, uh, Sean, go ahead and give us your last one to wrap it up here.
So you just wanted me to go last because I was going to court some controversy here, right?
Here we go. This guy.
So mine in my top of, like we said before, none of these are in any particular order, but I still think that WrestleMania 20, the official main event, and its, in my opinion, co-main event, were one and two of the best of all time. One of them, the co-main event, was obviously Eddie Guerrero versus Brock Lesnar, with Eddie defeating Brock to win the title. But then the other one, the actual main event, was Triple H versus Shawn Michaels versus Chris Benoit. And
Don't say his name.
I'm saying his name because yes, what Benoit did was terrible and all that. There's no excuse for any of it. As far as the match and the story goes, with both of the former UFC or former WCW guys, two real good friends, both winning the titles the way they did that night, was also a great story in and of itself. When Eddie came to the ring to congratulate Benoit out there. And it's really too bad that life went the way it did and everything happened, because both of those men were two of the greatest wrestlers of all time. And Chris Benoit in the technical sense and everything he could do, and then Eddie Guerrero in the charisma and the wrestling skills, the luchador, was, both men should have been mainstays of the WWE much longer than they were. And I think that these two matches at WrestleMania showed what could have been.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, yeah, life aside, right? I mean, both, obviously one being a tragedy, and then Eddie just, man, cut way too short, way too short. Eddie was the best. Eddie was just absolutely the best, and I don't know. I just wonder what it would have been like, when he was just starting to get himself like on the straight and narrow there, and it's terrible, terrible.
I mean,
that is the honest dark side of the ring, right? I mean, you're talking during a time period where drugs were really extremely prevalent in the locker rooms down there, and they were easily accessible by all of them. And I want to back you up on that, Sean. Is that what happened with Benoit was an absolute tragedy. Rest in peace to his family. It was, I mean, horrible. And the thing is, I know how it feels to have to give him some sort of credit though for his in-ring performance. So for his job, he did a hell of a job with his job. He's one of the greatest of all time, in
Yep.
my opinion. But again, it is, kind of stained by the tragedy that happened, and then Eddie on top of that, you know, you're right, Mike. I mean, he could have went down as one of the greatest wrestlers of all time. I mean, you probably don't have a Rey Mysterio at this point.
No.
You may not, because Rey Mysterio is not considered the greatest luchador of all time. When in fact, in my opinion, it probably would be Eddie Guerrero.
You certainly don't have a Dominic Guerrero either.
Yeah, I mean, it's impossible to overlook the tragedy, right? Rest in peace to his family, and you can't, the man was troubled, and CTE aside, a disgusting human being, but as a professional wrestler, I mean, you're right, Sean. You can't take that away from him as a professional wrestler, and it's really difficult to talk about. So, I don't think we're going to spend a ton of time on this, but yeah, I think it's important that you brought that up.
Yep.
So, so that is our list, guys. Let us know what you guys think in the comments down below. Do you agree with our picks? Do you think we're a bunch of idiots? We'd love to hear from you. We do respond to all of the comments, and we had a lot of fun with them. So, as always, thank you so much for joining us. Please like, comment, and subscribe. As always, we appreciate the support. And with that, I've been Mike, joined by Mr. T. Reese and Mr. Sean O'Neill. Have yourselves a fantastic evening, fantastic weekend, and take care.